Hi there! In this episode, I'm going to show you my kitchen remodel tips and value-adding tricks. I'm Erin Valencic, an award-winning interior designer and real estate developer based in LA. In this episode, I'm going to show you my kitchen remodel tips and value-adding tricks. I'm really excited to show you this kitchen's before and after. I'll show you how I took this kitchen from this to this. Click the link in the description to download the floor plan and material palette so you can follow along and take notes with the episode. This will help you understand the choices we made for this kitchen remodel and how you can apply those same decisions to your remodel. Let's get started. For this kitchen, we wanted to create a really warm, family-friendly, but also very elegant kitchen. This is a very open floor plan with the dining room in the kitchen, and it's open to the living room, so we wanted there to still be a sense of formality in the kitchen. The house is what I call a builder special. It was a new construction done in the 2000s, and everything was very generic. You can really tell that the quality is low when you tap on all the doors and they're hollow, and things just don't have a really lovely quality of fit and finish. So we wanted to turn this builder special into a custom home. So we basically gutted everything that was here and reimagined what this kitchen could be. Overall, we left the layout and the general footprint the same. We did make some changes to the doors. We put in all new doors and windows in the space, and I switched the way they opened so that they opened from the side that you enter into the kitchen first, and we pocketed them between the cabinetry there. So when you open the doors to the deck, it's this really nice indoor-outdoor living. Here in Southern California, the weather is generally very pleasant, so you can really enjoy that all year round. Another big move for this renovation was opening up the entrance to the kitchen. As you come up the stairs, you used to just run into a wall and then have to kind of go around it to get in the kitchen. So we widened this entry about by 3 feet, which made a huge difference. Plus then when you're in the kitchen, you can now see through to the living room and create more of a fun, family-friendly space. For this kitchen, we wanted it to feel modern, but also still warm. So kind of a transitional feeling. We really liked this kind of beachy vibe of this taupey, warm oak for the cabinetry. So that was one of the first choices we made, was the cabinetry and that kind of modern but warm taupey finish. And then pulled in other elements to kind of brighten it up. You'll see that the ceiling is wood. I really like doing a wood ceiling because it brings in a lot of warmth, and it's a much more golden tone than the stone and the cabinetry. And that was by choice so that it didn't end up just feeling too gray and too flat. I feel a lot of people go for this bleached gray look, but they don't add anything in for warmth, and they choose silver finishes with gray, and it just looks gray and flat. So if you're gonna go for that gray tone, I always like to go on the warmer side, the browner side of the color spectrum, and then layer in more golden things. You'll notice as well, like the pendants, we chose something in a polished brass to brighten it up and add that warmth. The floors we went with in the kitchen are wood. Because this is open to the rest of the house, we didn't want to have a material change on the floor, and they don't cook a lot here, so it makes it easy to live with. So we went with a really beautiful wide plank oak and ran that throughout the house. The cabinetry, I also wanted to switch up the look of the handles. So on the uppers, we did this really cool routed out detail and then did pulls on the lowers. Because the dining room is part of this kitchen, I wanted to change the cabinetry and have it feel a little bit different from the kitchen on that back wall. They had kind of a funky bench, which was frankly just really useless and feels weird. Like, why do you have a low bench in your dining room? So we wanted to make that more usable. So did it as a buffet height, changed the height from the kitchen countertop so you get a little bit of differentiation there. And then we inset a piece of smoky glass on the cabinetry, which adds a little sparkle, but also allows it to be a really high traffic kind of service area for the dining room. We continued the routed detail from the upper cabinets into that as well, so that it didn't feel like just kitchen cabinetry when you walk in. We wanted to make it feel a little bit more like a piece of furniture. So we also changed the toe kick detail there as well. The stone is a major feature of this kitchen. So we did a beautiful waterfall edge on the island and also wrapped the hood in stone and did a bit of a crown molding in stone over those upper cabinets so that it was consistent but also really strong statement. When you're choosing your stone material for your kitchen, you can go with something like this beautiful nuage quartzite that we got at Walker Zanger, or you could go with a porcelain if you need something a lot more durable and kind of stain proof. Walker Zanger makes a really gorgeous porcelain countertop that looks like marble that I absolutely love. But in this case, it's not a really high use kitchen, and so we went with this quartzite in a really nice leathered finish. So when you rub your hand over the stone, it's not perfectly flat. It actually has a little bit of high and low. You can feel the texture in some of the areas, which I think just feels really good, particularly on an island like this, where you interact with it and it's a very tactile space. The back wall is covered in slab stone, so that's a really dramatic, big, bold move. We removed some upper cabinets that were there before because they didn't really need that much storage, and they have a big pantry and a lot of storage in the island, so we were able to remove some of those uppers and have more of a decorative finished look. Added some really cool steel shelves for a little bit of layering and fun, and some beautiful sconces over the sink, as that is one of the main things you see when you enter from the living room. You really want to focus on that back wall, that main moment. First thing you see is being really impactful. When it comes to island design, you really want to maximize the storage space. So I like to do touch latch, kind of invisible doors on the side that you sit in so that you don't see a bunch of hardware there. It looks like a pretty paneled finished front, but if you were to move those bar stools and access, holiday serving elements or things you don't get to regularly, you can take advantage of that storage and have appliances on one side and added storage on the other. I don't generally like to use a stone or something on the face of the island. I think that it's nice to see that contrast of material. You could use a leather front or something really cool and interesting, but I like the look of the stone and the wood together. We wanted to hide all the under-counter appliances. I don't care what people say, I really don't like looking at stainless steel appliances. They're just not that sexy. So I put them on the back side of the island, so from the entrance view as well as from the dining room view, you don't see all those funny appliances, and I like to panel front them whenever possible as well so that they really do just seamlessly disappear and your beautiful wood finish and your gorgeous decorative hardware is what shines through. I love a farmhouse sink. I find most of them to be too shallow, so if you're going for one, make sure you find a really deep one so that it's truly functional. And it's a really nice look to mix in with a more contemporary kitchen like we did, so you get that nice tension between new and old. This kitchen had a 36-inch range when we started, and it just felt too small for the space. So even if you don't cook a lot or you are not really needing extra burners, you want your range and your cooktop to really feel like it fits in the space, and the scale of it is important. So we had this very long back wall with lots of cabinetry and lots of width and this tiny little range, and it just felt completely out of scale. It also didn't feel impressive. When you walk in, that hood moment over the cooking area is like really important to get right. And so we opted to upgrade to a 48-inch wide Decor cooktop that just has a lot more presence. I really like the sleek design of it. It's got a bit more of an industrial feel to it. And that alone was a really important change that helped this kitchen not feel like an apartment kitchen. You'll notice that we mixed metals in this kitchen. We've got matte black, we've got polished nickel, we've got polished brass. I think that brings some interest to the kitchen and it allows it to not feel flat. If all of your metals are exactly the same color, it's kind of like you didn't try hard. You just picked everything that's super matchy-matchy. I think it's much more interesting to mix those finishes, much like you would in jewelry. Or you see, in a car, you see multiple colors of metal and it always looks really pretty when done well. When you're choosing your decorative lighting for a kitchen as well, you don't have to go with the obvious, farmhouse sconces that everyone's doing. I think that's an opportunity to put some personality into this space. You'll see these rolled mesh sconces on the back wall, totally funky and cool, but I think that's what this kitchen wanted. It needed a little bit more personality. So when you're looking at your lighting, that's a chance to have fun. It's easy to change after a couple years if you're over it, but I think it's a place you don't need to play it safe. Everybody does, the kind of farmhouse look or the vintage French cafe lighting, and it's pretty and it's timeless and it will always look good. But if you want your kitchen to feel a bit more unique and special, lighting is the way to add that personality. Under cabinet lighting is a must-have. I think you can get really creative with where you put your lighting touches in kitchens, especially because this is also the dining room. So you want to be able to turn off those overhead lights and only have the accent lighting. So if you're having a dinner party, you're not bombarded with all of this fluorescent lighting in your kitchen, and you can have those more moody, beautiful elements, decorative elements being highlighted. I like to soften up a kitchen with some really beautiful window coverings. I see that people tend to go a lot with like wood shutters, which is just more hard surface. And a kitchen already has so much hard surface. What you want is things that soften it. Big dramatic greenery, big tall branches, things that bring life into the kitchen. And fabric does that as well. So if you can do a soft sheer fabric shade over your kitchen sink, or if you have an opportunity for full height drapery in or near your kitchen, it's always a great idea because it just adds that last layer of finish and brings in a little bit of that softness. It also helps with sound. Whenever you can get large expanses of fabric, it helps a kitchen not have so much echo. When it comes to choosing your bar stools, I really like to be very specific about what your effect you're trying to achieve, because those really are like sometimes the only furniture piece you can get into a kitchen. So don't just go with something that's like really cleanable and durable just because it's easy. Here you see I tied in that look of the natural wood with the ceiling. I think that 3-color palette and accessories is always really important to stick to. It makes the room feel really cohesive and finished. So when you see the accessories in this space, they're white, they're black, and they're wood. And when you stick with that 3-color palette for accessories and bring in that handmade feel and things that are natural, like the bar stools, like the cutting board, like some of the handmade ceramics and pottery, it helps the kitchen feel very homey and very soft, because if you were to take all those things out, it's very rigid in here. It's stone and wood, and it's all very sharp and crisp. And so those elements that can continue to bring in softness with the accessories and the bar stools that you choose is what takes a nice design and really pushes it over the top to feel completely finished and makes it a wow. Nothing ruins a beautiful backsplash more than outlets. So I like to hide them whenever possible, either really low in placement so that they'll hide behind decorative elements or even small countertop appliances. And I always make sure that we choose outlets that match the material they're on. This is something that your electrician is not gonna normally do, and your contractor is gonna order white and just install them. So really think about the material that you're choosing, where those outlets are gonna go, and make sure that in advance you tell the guys to specialty order the colored switches for you and outlets, because otherwise you're gonna have to switch them out later, and that's kind of a pain. So here with the gray stone, we chose a gray colored outlet, so at least they begin to start to disappear, and it makes all the difference. The same with painting all of your vents, painting your fire sprinklers to match whatever color the ceiling is that they're on. It makes a huge difference. It's one of those finishing touches that I run around any project and I'm like, paint that to match the wall, paint that to match the ceiling, because it really does just take that level of, that looks pretty good, to, oh my gosh, that looks really well finished. And so that's one of those punch list items that you're gonna wanna walk through at the end and make sure that all the vents and the outlets and the lighting have been matched to the color of the ceiling or the walls whenever you can. I will paint outlets and whatnot on walls as well. Even if they get scratched, leave a little small container of the paint that someone can touch it up in a few months. But particularly if you're using a dark wall color or something vibrant and bright, you don't want to walk around and see all these little white spots all over. It just looks terrible. So those are the little designer tricks that really take a space to the next level. Although white kitchens are timeless and people love them, it is really nice to have something that's a little bit different. This kitchen actually won Kitchen of the Year with California Home and Design magazine, and the editor told me as soon as she saw it, she was like, thank goodness, not another white kitchen. So have a little fun with your kitchen space if you're renovating and updating it. You know, it doesn't have to be a safe white kitchen to be gorgeous and to be timeless. If you enjoyed it, please like the video below and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the bell to be notified when a new episode comes out, as well as leave a question or a comment. Check out some of my other episodes and tutorials here to learn how to design or build a wonderful home. If you'd like to check out my complete kitchen design and bathroom design and interior renovation courses, visit my website, erinvdesign.com. and follow me on Instagram at Erin B Style.